The depiction of war in the acclaimed Clone Wars series is lacking. I know the Clone Wars has a lot of fans, I used to be one of them, but I can't sit here and pretend that its portrayal of war is either accurate or compelling. And to all defenders out there, I won't accept "it's the kid show" excuse. This argument is weak. It's always used to deflect criticism, but never when the show is being praised for its darker or more mature themes. And let's be honest, the show clearly isn't afraid to get dark or brutal when it wants to. Now, this video isn't meant to be a takedown of the Clone Wars series as a whole, or of Dave Filoni personally. There are plenty of video essays already out there analyzing the series and its overall quality. Instead, I'm focusing on one specific issue: how the Clone Wars portrays war, and how Filoni and his team ultimately choose to present an extremely simplified and one-sided version of the conflict. Before we begin, remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, the whole shtick. You know what to do. If you can, support me through Patreon or donate to art found on Ko-fi for my Star Wars X Warhammer 40k series. With that out of the way, let's begin. My criticism can be summed up in a single word: defeat. More specifically, the lack of meaningful defeat for the Republic on the battlefield. Yes, I know the Republic loses a few battles throughout the series, but let's be real, those are rare exceptions. Almost every major battle we see ends in some form of Republic victory. Sometimes it's hard-fought, costly win, but it's still a win, over and over again. This makes the show feel like a string of Republic triumphs, and at times it borders on feeling like a piece of in-universe Republic propaganda. Although, to be fair, the show does include side stories and episodes that critique the Republic itself, so I don't think that interpretation fully holds up. Still, the problem remains. Defeat is almost absent. We never truly get to see a devastating, morale-crushing loss. A moment where, despite everything our heroes do, they fail, utterly, and are forced to retreat in disgrace, suffering heavy losses. Almost every separatist plot, offensive or trap in the Clone Wars is ultimately overcome by our heroes and the clone army. But that's just not how war works. In real conflicts, both sides win some and lose some. A side can win most of the battles and still lose the war in the end. Now try to think, which battle in the Clone Wars could truly be described as a devastating defeat for the Republic? A few examples come to mind. There is the fall of Ryloth, where the Republic loses its local fleet, the entire clone garrison, and the Jedi. That's one. Then there is the early Malevolence arc, where several Republic fleets are completely destroyed by Grievous' superweapon, before anyone even knows what's happening. Maybe that one episode where Grievous ambushes Obi-Wan's fleet and catches him completely off guard? Sure, we can count that as well. A rare, clear-cut defeat for the Republic. And that's it. Those examples could be classified as genuine losses. In Ryloth's case, the Republic loses all of its forces and the planet they were trying to protect. With the Malevolence, yes, the Republic eventually takes it out, but not before several fleets are obliterated, with thousands of lives lost. And in the Grievous ambush, Obi-Wan fails to be the one who saved younglings calling for help. and he loses his entire fleet. But even then, none of those defeats carry much weight. Rylov falls, sure, but the resistance survives just long enough for the Republic to return and liberate the planet. The Malevolence? Destroyed within a few episodes of its introduction. The Younglings? Saved by the Wookiees. And Obi-Wan gets a new fleet like nothing ever happened. There is no lasting damage. No long-term consequences. No moment where we left sitting with the loss. We never get a battle that feels like a total, humiliating defeat for the Republic. One that shakes morale, shifts momentum, or leaves our heroes broken and unsure of what to do next. And that's a real shame. Because defeat is a crucial part of war, and even more importantly, of war storytelling. You can be heroic and glorious in victory, but only in defeat can you reveal the true cost of war. The loss, the grief, the weight of failure. Which brings me to my next point. Let me show you how a battle should be depicted. Let's talk about a single engagement from the expanded universe, or Legends, if you prefer that term. Now, to be clear, I am not an EU purist. The old canon got a lot of things right, and quite a few things wrong. But when it comes to portraying war, especially in the Republic comics, they nailed it. On the pages of those comics, war is brutal, gritty and devastating, for both sides. Victory or defeat isn't determined just by plot convenience, but by long-term strategy, environmental conditions, and the abilities or flaws of the commanders and soldiers on the ground. And no storyline captures that better than the Battle of Jabiim. It's one of the most brutal, hopeless and demoralizing defeats suffered by the Grand Army of the Republic and the Jedi Order during the Clone Wars. Honestly, I'd argue it's the best depiction of war in the entire Star Wars universe. The Battle of Jabiim is what the Battle of Umbara in the Clone Wars tried to be, but ultimately failed to deliver. From the very first pages of the comic, we are hit with the reality of war. Not epic, not heroic, but muddy, miserable and meaningless. Jabiim itself is a nightmare, a muddy hellhole ravaged by never-ending rainstorms. So relentless that even the British Isles would look sunny by comparison. The ground is pure muck, stretching to the horizon. Not that you can see that far. The rain is so thick it practically blinds you. There is little vegetation, barely any infrastructure, and zero comfort. You immediately understand this is the galactic equivalent of being dropped into the ass end of nowhere. And here's where it gets even more powerful. The Republic isn't fighting droids. The defenders of Jabiim are people. A nationalist militia made out of humans in soaked blue uniforms with thick helmets drenched to the bone. They feel pain, they bleed, they cry, they fear death, just like the clones do. The enemy isn't faceless, and they certainly not emotionless. They aren't machines, they are flesh and blood, and they are not fighting out of greed or cruelty. They have every reason to fight. Because Jabiim was loyal to the Republic. For centuries, maybe even millennia, they stood by it. And in return, they were ignored, left to fend for themselves during pirate raids, disasters and plagues. Abandoned. It was only when the Republic discovered rich veins of ore beneath Jabiim's endless mud that they finally took in interest. And that says everything about the moral rot at the heart of the Republic, how far it had fallen by the time of the Clone Wars. The people of Jabiim had enough. Enough of being ignored, enough of being used, enough of bowing to the core worlds and their corrupt senate. They weren't going to take it anymore. They would fight to keep their planet free. And by the second page of the comic, we see the Republic's response. Prototype AT-ATs. Yes, those AT-ATs, the future symbol of imperial oppression, march across the battlefield, trampling the defenders of Jabiim into the mud. This isn't a mission of peace. This isn't a rescue. The Republic war machine is here to crush those who would dare to defy it. The Grand Army of the Republic? They are not heroes here. They are not liberators. They are invaders. At one point, Anakin Skywalker has to explicitly order Alpha 17 not to execute wounded prisoners. That's the level of violence we are dealing with. And even when the Jabiim soldiers are spared, they look at the Jedi not with gratitude, but with fear. There are already rumors spreading long before the war even began, that Jedi steal children, that they twist minds, that they are killers of the Senate. From the outset, the optics are grim. The first skirmish looks like a Republic victory. They punch through multiple defensive lines, the Jedi lead from the front, the clones advance. But the cracks are already there. Morale is shaky. There are no droids, no elite Jabiim units, just militia, and yet the fighting is brutal. The environment is punishing, progress is slow, and looming behind all of this is Alto Stratus, leader of the Jabiim nationalists. He is both a military commander and a skilled orator. He overthrew the Republic-aligned government and seized dictatorial control of the planet. Yes, it is a villainous act, but can you really blame him? That previous government was loyal to the Republic, and the Republic failed them, time and time again. Stratus watched his people die during pirate raids, plagues, disasters, while the Senate looked the other way. He lost family, he lost friends, and when he rose to power, he didn't rise alone. He brought the people with him. Because unlike the Republic loyalists, who are few and scattered, Stratus has the support of the masses. The people of Jabiim feel the same betrayal, the same grief, the same rage. And on the battlefield, he knows what he is doing. His experience gives him a clear edge over the Jedi. The endless mud slows down the Republic forces. The rain damages their gear, jams their communication, and isolates their units. The clones get stretched thin, drawn out by the promise of quick victories against untrained militias. But it's all part of a trap, because the goal isn't to repel the Republic invasion. The goal is to destroy it. A massive clone army, dozens of walkers, including prototype AT-ATs, over 2,000 Jedi, all of that. And still it wasn't enough. When Alto Stratus launched his counterattack, with his elite Nimbus commandos leading the way, the full scale of the devastation became clear. Using the storm as cover, his forces slipped past the Republic perimeter. The first strike hits like a thunderclap. An AT-AT is obliterated without a warning. A Jedi is gunned down without any preamble. Moments later, another Jedi is stabbed in the back by Stratus himself. while trying to lift an stranded AT-AT out of the mud. Soon after, another AT-AT goes down, and both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Alpha ARC Trooper Alpha 17 are presumed dead in the following explosion of a downed walker. That one counterattack shattered the Republic's armored spearhead. It killed at least 2 Jedi, one personally executed by Stratus, and nearly eliminated their senior leadership. Even Anakin Skywalker couldn't capture Stratus, who vanished back into the storm. And that was just the beginning. What would have been considered a season finale level tragedy in the Clone Wars was merely the opening act of the Republic's defeat on Jabiim. The next issue jumps forward, 28 days later. A wounded Jedi Master lies among the corpses of his clone unit. Stratus finds him and personally decapitates him. Before his death, the Jedi recites the familiar mantra, "There is no pain, there is only the Force." Stratus mocks him. He throws the words back in the Jedi's face, talking about the real pain. The pain his people endured, the pain of his cousin killed during the invasion, the pain of holding a dying family member in his arms. This is where the ideals of a Jedi are stripped bare. This is what war does. On Jabiim, lofty mantras mean nothing. There are no prophecies, no chosen ones, no cosmic balance. Only blood, only mud, only death. By day 30, the numbers are staggering. 18 Jedi dead, over 9,000 clones lost. The Jedi are desperate. Stratus has to die. They believe his death might turn the tide. But this isn't a tale of noble sacrifice. It's a slow, grinding collapse. With so many Jedi fallen, the Republic does something desperate. They form what they call a Padawan Pack, a unit made up entirely of orphaned Padawans working and fighting together after their masters were killed in combat. This kind of desperation, you'd never see it in the Clone Wars series. In that show, if a Padawan loses their master, they are reassigned or sent back for training. But here, on Jabiim, there is no time. On Jabiim, sacred traditions of a Jedi cannot be followed. There are no masters to send as replacements, and no guarantee that Padawans will still live by the time they arrive to train them. We see that some of them try to follow Jedi teachings, others become bitter, and some downright fall in love with each other, expressing their feelings openly. No wonder. Who wouldn't look for warmth and love in the hell that is Jabiim? Later, the Padawan Pack walks into a trap, and we see just how far they've changed. They are using enemy anti-grav boots, they're carrying blasters. It's almost darkly poetic. Obi-Wan once called the lightsaber a weapon from a more civilized age. But here, on Jabiim, there is nothing civilized about this war. And a Jedi with a blaster says everything. By day 37, the battle is still raging. For the first time in over a month, sunlight breaks through the storm clouds. A weary Jedi general looks up at the sky with hope, only to be shot dead seconds later. Another commander lost to the mud. At this point, the Republic is in full retreat. Most of the Jedi are dead, clone forces are shattered, and due to the unrelenting weather, reinforcements can't arrive. Ironically and cruelly, it's the Jabiim nationalists who receive reinforcements instead. Several battalions of battle droids. So clearly, the situation in orbit isn't optimal. From what we see in the comics, we can deduce that the control over the orbit is contested, and unfortunately, when there was a chance to send reinforcements, the separatists had the advantage. The tide isn't just turning, it's already turned. The Padawan pack, what little remains of them, decide to make their last stand. Slow down the enemy to allow the remaining forces to evacuate. They know it's a death sentence. Whatever dreams they had, whatever futures they imagined, Jabiim has stripped all of it away. Here, potential doesn't matter. Power doesn't matter. Nothing matters. They are just more bodies for the grinder. Before the final battle begins, Anakin receives a message from Palpatine. He is ordered to take command of the Republic's evacuation. And so, the chosen one, the hero, the friend, the would-be savior, is forced to abandon the Padawan pack. He leaves them behind, knowing exactly what fate awaits them. The trenches are dug. Makeshift fortifications rise in the endless mud. The defenders brace for their final battle. And so begins the Battle of Cobalt Station. Second day of fighting. Padawan Tay Diath is gunned down by assassin droids. His close friend, Elora Sund, dies from the psychic backlash of their connection being severed. Her heart simply gives out. On Jabiim, even the power of friendship becomes a death sentence. Third day of fighting. Windonet sacrificed himself, blowing up a Hellfire tank. Zule Ziz, driven by grief, anger and despair, falls to the dark side. And no one blames her. Who wouldn't lose themselves in this hell? She dies when the last AT-AT is destroyed, collapsing directly on top of her. Fourth day of fighting. Mac Lotor and Cass Todd launched a desperate attack on Stratus himself, but are intercepted by a Hellfire tank. A missile is fired. Mac managed to hold it with the Force and begs his lover to escape, but Cass doesn't want to live without him. And so, the two young lovers die in each other's arms. Fifth day of fighting. Vabesh dies when his environmental suit is breached. Even the air on Jabiim is lethal to him. The last of the Padawan pack, Aubire Win, takes up Vabesh's saber and charges the enemy. She confronts Alto Stratus and his remaining Nimbus commandos in the final act of defiance. Stratus shoots her, but even as she falls, she impales him with both sabers. They die together. Two enemies locked in a final, silent embrace. Not as a hero and a villain, but casualties of war. Just casualties of war. In the final issue of Jabiim arc, we see Anakin overseeing the evacuation. He rides alone on the speeder across the desolate landscape. He sees previous battlefields, still littered with wrecks and corpses, all slowly sinking into the hungry, muddy maw of Jabiim. The maw that is still hungry for more. The Republic lost 2 ships in the high atmosphere. There is no room to save both clones and Jabiim loyalists. And so, Anakin makes the call. He orders that only the clones to be evacuated. The Republic leaves its own allies behind. Stratus was right all along. The Republic didn't care about Jabiim or its people. It was all about the damn ore and nothing else. Now that they know the battle is lost, they cut their losses, and loyal allies of the Republic with them. Abandoned by the Senate, betrayed by their so-called protectors, the loyalists are left to die. Some nearly turn on the clones out of desperation, ready to murder them just for a chance to escape the wrath of the separatists. In response, Anakin force-chokes their leader, stunning them just long enough to evacuate and escape. The Battle of Jabiim ends in blood, treachery, and despair. Every Jedi who stayed behind, dead. The Republic allies, abandoned. And Anakin Skywalker? Changed. Because if this is the kind of war the Republic fights, then maybe the Jedi were never meant to win it. There is little to say after that. What little remains of Republic forces managed to successfully evacuate to New Hostis, where Republic forces regroup and wounded are treated. We see numerous wounded clones and a lot of critically injured Jedi, one of which dies as Anakin tries to save her, and fails to do so, just as he failed to save Jabiim. A memorial is held for the Jedi lost on Jabiim and other battlefields. A shining monument that grows ever brighter with every Jedi lost to the war. But light is deceiving. The monument is beautiful, yes, but it says nothing of what really happened. The memory moths that repeat the names of the dead do not mention their final moments. How Norkuna was decapitated as his beliefs were mocked. Or how Leska was gunned down, distracted for a single moment by sunlight. Sunlight she hadn't seen in over a month. They do not whisper of how Padawans fell to the dark side, allowing rage and despair to consume them. How they blew themselves up in the futile act of defiance to destroy a single tank. Nor how they died in each other's arms as lovers, openly breaking the Jedi code. There was no glory to be found on Jabiim. The Republic came as invaders, oppressors. Their presence, motivated not by duty but by the mineral wealth buried beneath the mud, cost thousands of lives. Clones, Jedi, Jabiimi. Not because of ideology or some evil plot, but because someone decided Jabiim was finally worth something. No its people, just the ore. Not even Jabiim separatists could enjoy their victory. Thousands of their men and women are dead. Their leader, just another corpse getting swallowed by the mud. This, my dear viewers and listeners, is war. Brutal, senseless, indifferent. No justice, no honor, no glory, no redemption. Nothing but corpses and rain. This is what I wanted to see in the Clone Wars. A true depiction of war. Not polished battles with clear-cut heroes and villains. Not endless victories. Not moral certainty. There is no hope to be found in the piles of corpses. Because no battle in the Clone Wars series comes close to Jabiim. Umbara tried to play a darker note. Clones killing clones, a Jedi betraying the Republic. It's a dark story, and a dark world. Umbara was eerie, eternal night, ever-present mist and mysterious monsters. But compared to Jabiim, Umbara was pleasant. Jabiim is far more terrifying. Because monsters and eternal mist, those are fantasy. There is a distance there, a safety. We can tell ourselves it isn't real. But Jabiim, We know that place. Mud and rain. Trenches, wrecks, corpses. The feeling that no one is coming to save you. That no one ever was. Jabiim doesn't need monsters. It is the monster. This kind of war? It simply wasn't present in the Clone Wars series. I know some of you might want to push back on that, and you are welcome to make your points in the comments, but I hope with what I've shown you in this video, you can see my point. We never experienced such hopeless, devastating and complete defeat in TCW. And don't tell me it's too dark for the show. We see teen Padawans getting killed by witch-enhanced Sith assassins, where villages are wiped out without a warning, and where prisoners of war get executed. So I won't accept this kind of argument. It is my firm belief that Filoni and his team simply didn't have the guts to show us something real like this. They wouldn't stand the idea of the Republic suffering a defeat like that. That their heroes could lose like that. To admit that sometimes war doesn't just scar you, it breaks you. And that's a real shame, because this was a missed opportunity to tell a deeper story. We could have seen beloved characters tested in the only crucible that really matters. Not a duel, not a lightsaber clash, not another moral dilemma that gets resolved by the end of episode, but defeat. Total, irreversible, soul-shattering defeat. No backup coming, no lessons learned. Just the raw truth of who you are when the only thing left to do is lose. That's where character is revealed. That's when masks drop. That's when you find out who stands up, who crumbles, and who is willing to sacrifice friends, allies, and ideals just for someone to make it out alive. We were robbed of that, and I can't help but imagine how much powerful, how much more honest the series could have been if it had the courage to give us a battle like Jabiim. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe and ring that bell. If you can, support me through Patreon, or donate money to Ko-fi Art Fund for Star Wars X Warhammer 40k series. I would appreciate it very much. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed. Now, my dear viewers and listeners, remember, wherever you are, whatever you do, try to enjoy yourself while you can. I wish you most heretical day. Ta-ta!